Tonight, if your bedroom becomes too hot, you lower the thermostat, switch on a fan, and pull a sheet over yourself. Now imagine trying to sleep where none of those things exists. It is midnight inside the Amazon rainforest. The day's heat is still trapped beneath the canopy. The air feels wet enough to drink, and sweat refuses to evaporate from your skin. Mosquitoes circle your face. Frogs scream from flooded ground. Something heavy moves through the leaves outside. There are no sealed windows, no electric fan, and no machine pushing cold air into the room. Yet inside a palm-roofed home, a family is already asleep. So how do they do it? The surprising answer is that they do not cool the rainforest. They build their sleeping lives around it. First, understand the real enemy. Heat alone is uncomfortable, but heat combined with humidity is much harder for the human body to escape. Sweating cools you only when that moisture evaporates. When nighttime humidity rises towards saturation, sweat can remain on the skin, leaving you hot, sticky, and exhausted. A thick mattress makes things worse by trapping warm air beneath the body. Closed walls stop whatever breeze survives beneath the trees. A poorly designed shelter can become an oven. But many indigenous peoples of Amazonia developed homes that behave differently. There is no single Amazon house, because hundreds of peoples live across different rivers, forests, and climates. Still, many traditional designs share one powerful principle. Let heat escape before it reaches the sleepers. A broad roof made from layered palm leaves blocks the sun long before sunlight touches the living space. Unlike metal or heavy masonry, these natural materials do not trap and store daytime heat, then release it for hours after sunset. The roof is often raised high above the floor. Hot air rises into that upper space, while cooler air can move below. Open sides, wide entrances, or carefully spaced walls allow cross breezes to pass through instead of being trapped. Near rivers, moving air over the water can make the shoreline feel noticeably cooler than dense forest. Families position sleeping places where that airflow reaches them. Then comes the hammock. To someone accustomed to a bed, it may look like a simple piece of woven fiber. In a humid forest, it is an intelligent cooling device. A hammock holds the body above the damp ground and lets air move underneath as well as over the skin. There is no thick mattress storing body heat. Its curved shape supports the sleeper without pressing the entire body against one hot surface. People can adjust its height, angle, and distance from the fire or open wall as conditions change. Children may sleep close to parents, where adults can feel movement and respond quickly. But cooling the body creates another problem. The more open the shelter becomes, the easier it is for the night to enter. And in the Amazon, the night has wings, teeth, and an endless appetite for exposed skin. Those wings belong to mosquitoes, biting flies, moths, and beetles drawn toward warm bodies, smoke, and light. An open house releases heat, but it also removes the barrier between the family and the forest. So the next cooling system is not designed to lower temperature. It is designed to make open-air sleeping possible. In some Amazonian communities, a small fire is kept smoldering near the sleeping area. The goal is not a roaring flame, because that would make the shelter hotter. Dry wood, bark, leaves, or palm material can be allowed to smoke slowly. A light breeze carries that smoke through the open structure and around the hammocks. Mosquitoes do not always disappear, but many avoid the smoky air. A field study in the Bolivian Amazon tested traditionally burned palm husks and found that their smoke reduced bites from important mosquito groups. The protection was incomplete, yet even fewer bites can change an unbearable night. In some regions, people also prepare oils or aromatic plants known within their own communities and apply them to exposed skin. These practices differ greatly because Amazonia contains thousands of plant species and many separate knowledge systems. What works beside one river may not even grow beside another. Timing provides another defense. Mosquito activity often rises around dusk, just when the day's heat begins loosening its grip. Families may finish bathing, cooking, and arranging hammocks before darkness becomes complete. Then the family changes the way it uses space. On a still night, hammocks can be moved closer to an open edge where faint air is moving. During wind-driven rain, they can be shifted inward beneath the broadest part of the roof. If smoke begins blowing directly into someone's face, the hammock or fire is repositioned. The shelter is not a fixed bedroom. It is adjusted repeatedly as wind, rain, insects, and temperature change. Even the way a hammock hangs matters. If it is stretched too tightly, the body sinks into one narrow position and the woven surface presses closely against the skin. Hung with a deeper curve, It gives the sleeper room to lie diagonally, shift position, and expose more of the body to moving air. Spacing hammocks apart also lets air circulate and prevents one person's body heat from warming another. But families do not always spread far apart. A young child may sleep beside a parent, and everyone remains close enough to hear an unusual cough, cry, or movement. That closeness is another form of protection. The rainforest after dark is loud, but experienced listeners learn its normal rhythm. They recognize heavy rain approaching through the canopy. They hear when a branch falls, when an animal enters the clearing, or when a child begins slapping at bites. Sleep is therefore not always one deep, uninterrupted block. People wake, check the embers, adjust a hammock, listen, and return to sleep. The house stays comfortable because its occupants keep responding to it. Their bodies respond as well. People regularly exposed to hot conditions can become heat acclimatized. Their circulation and sweating responses grow more efficient, allowing them to handle warmth better than someone arriving suddenly from a cool climate. But acclimatization is not immunity. Extreme heat and dehydration remain dangerous, especially for infants, elders, and anyone who is ill. That is why the quiet hours before sleep matter. Water is kept nearby. Strenuous work slows as the hottest part of the day ends. A wash in the river or with stored water can remove sweat and lower skin temperature before entering the hammock. Loose, light coverings may protect skin without trapping as much heat as thick bedding. And during the hottest nights, nobody pretends the air is comfortable. Babies wake. Insects still bite. Sleep may come in shorter stretches. The roof, hammock, fire, airflow, timing, and family routine have all been shaped around conditions that return night after night. But just before dawn, the shelter faces its final test. The temperature drops slightly, humidity climbs, and a tropical downpour can suddenly blow beneath the roof. A body that was sweating an hour earlier can become wet and chilled. Now the family must keep everyone dry without closing the house and trapping the heat all over again. When the rain arrives, the roof becomes the family's final defense. Overlapping palm leaves guide water down the steep slope and away from the sleeping area. Wide eaves stop much of the rain before wind can carry it inside. If the storm changes direction, woven panels or palm mats can block the exposed side temporarily. Hammocks are moved toward the center, children are checked, and dry coverings are protected from spray. The smoldering fire is sheltered, so the rain does not erase it. Nobody seals every opening. That would stop the rain, but it would also stop the airflow and rebuild the heat. Instead, the family blocks the side facing the storm. When the downpour passes, the panel can be moved and the house begins breathing again. But the family has slept through another night without cooling the air artificially. So how do families deep in the Amazon sleep without air conditioning? They do not defeat heat with one invention. They combine a shaded palm roof, open airflow, suspended hammocks, evening water, controlled smoke, flexible sleeping positions, acclimatized bodies, and people watching over one another. The roof blocks solar heat. The open walls release it. The hammock exposes the body to air. Community protects children when the night changes. And importantly, this does not mean every night is comfortable. People still sweat, wake, scratch bites, and wait for rain. Their knowledge does not make them immune to the rainforest. It makes life inside it possible. You cool your bedroom by separating yourself from the outside world. They sleep by staying connected to every change in it. The breeze, the rain, the river, the roof, and the hammock work together. There is no button to press. The house itself is the cooling system, and the family knows how to operate it.